Hi, welcome to Tamika Storytime. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't hit that subscription button, I encourage you to do so. If you haven't hit that like button, I encourage you to do that. And please hit the notification so that you can get more updated videos as they come through. This particular story is entitled A Walk with the Killer. And this is a story based on something that happened to me many years ago when I was in my mid-20s, and I was taking care of my mother at the time. She was on dialysis, and anyone who knows anybody or have a loved one that is on dialysis are aware of the extreme exhaustion that the person that's on dialysis suffers with, especially after treatment. Immediately after treatment, she will always be zapped. So there would be an hour window from her drop off, when they dropped her off from dialysis and brought her home, that I would still be at work. So and concerned for her being alone for that hour and getting around, I bought her a cane. And this wasn't a old looking cane. This was a cane that was very youthful looking, and it was stylish, if you will. So, because even though my mother was on dialysis, she always was a very stylish woman. So she was very particular of how she looked and how she went out the house. And so she didn't want a cane, but she didn't mind that cane because it was a stylish cane. It was a unique looking cane. So before I start, tea time, lemon ginger, and my Live Good Super Greens and my tea. I put it in here every morning, every day, before or during the course of the story time. Give me one moment, because this helps me to maintain that memory. So, whole body cleanse. So she didn't mind, having that cane. So I would keep it at the door so that she would have it soon as she go down the hall. She wouldn't forget it. I would keep her bag that she carried to go to dialysis on the door of her bedroom, and I would keep her cane on the outside of her door so that she wouldn't forget it when she walked out of her bedroom or she walked into her bedroom. It would be noticeably there. So before this particular morning where the incident happened, I was suffering from really bad pain in my left knee. I suffered with pain in my left knee periodically, off and on, for years. This particular due to a prior injury, and I'll get into that video at another time. But due to that injury, I suffer with severe pain in that left knee. So that night I had a significant amount of pain. So I wrapped my knee up with the ACE bandage the night before. And when I got up that morning, and my mother, again, with the dialysis treatment, her appetite decreased significantly. So I would prepare meals for her. She had a special diet she had to follow, but my mother did not like bland food. I don't care how how much they told her, what they sent her. They sent her home with an itemized a particular diet to follow. She wasn't having it. So I had to learn how to cook to appease her, and also in a safe, healthy way. So I learned to cook with all natural things, organic. So I would use fresh seasoning versus the over-the-counter seasoning, if you will, as best as I could. So this particular morning, she said, Tamika, I want some French toast. Now, due to the fact that my mother was such a finicky eater, and she was her appetite decreased significantly, whenever she said she wanted something, I was dead on it. I would get it. No hesitation. I got it. If it wasn't in the house, I was going to get it. I was ordering it. So when she said, I have taste for some French toast, I said, sure. So I went in the refrigerator, looked, and seeing that, I had all the ingredients. But when I got to the cabinet, I realized that I didn't have my cinnamon or nutmeg or any vanilla extract. So I knew that these were things I had to go out to get. So like I said, I wrapped my knee up with the Ace bandage when I got up. So I put on my sweatpants, I brushed my teeth, washed my face, and put my coat on. Okay? So because I had to go up and down the steps and I was having pain with my knee, I said, I just grabbed my mother cane. I made up my mind. I'm going to take this cane because I don't want to be struggling. And the pain was so bad the night before, I didn't want to flare it up going back up the steps. So I grabbed her cane. Excuse me. So once I grabbed her cane, I was going out my apartment door. But as soon as I touched the doorknob, something said, go get your sunglasses. Now this was a fall morning. This was in fall time. So this was in October. So it was a little chill outside. That I knew. But, again, like I said, it was fall. It was a fall morning and it was pretty bright, whatever, what have you. So I went and I was looking for my glasses. I went back into my bedroom. It wasn't there. I went in my living room. It wasn't there on the table. So my mother realized that I was walking back and forth through the hall. So she asked me, what are you looking for? And I said, my sunglasses. She said, they're in here. And I went in her bedroom, and sure enough, they were on her television stand in the bedroom. So I grabbed them and put them on. And I walked out the apartment door. So as I got outside, I was debating, was I going to the supermarket or was I going to go to this corner store? I really didn't feel like going to the supermarket, so I decided I wasn't going to drive to the supermarket. I was just going to walk down to the corner convenience store. So as I walked down to the convenience store and I'm going inside the store, I feel this presence of a man behind me, and he's basically walking over me, if you will. This is how fast he's trying to get in the door over me. So I glanced up at him, and I see him fixated on a woman who's standing behind the counter, and she's an African American woman, and she has her hair out in a frizz like hairstyle, but it was like a really dark brown color with little blind highlights going through her hair, and she had the hairband in her head, and she was concentrating she was fixated on the kids. It was kids on the store, and as soon as you walk into the store, there was potato chip wrap. They had the snack wraps of the different flavors, and they were putting the bags, taking them out, putting them back, and she was telling them what the chips, pick one or put them back, don't mess up the rack or whatever. So as I'm going into the store, I'm go past her, right past the the cashier. I go past her and straight down the aisle. And as I'm midway down the aisle, I hear boom. So it started me, and I just walked a little bit faster and got behind the aisle before I turned to look to see what actually happened. I hear the kids screaming, and they running out the door, and I see the back of the man. He's tall, stocky, the same man that was trying to walk over me to get in the door. So I go back, I'm frozen in a frozen state of mind and being, standing behind this end of the aisle, because now I don't even know what to do. I don't know whether to move or to stay there. So I'm standing there. My heart is beating so fast in my chest, I can literally hear it. So I'm standing there, and then as a big mirror, it was a big mirror where you can see, it was to my right, mounted on the wall, and you could see the people come in and out. You could see that front door, the register, behind the register, towards the register, not behind, but towards the register, and that front door. And I look up, and it's the guy coming back in who was behind me. So I go down, I'm looking down, and I'm like this, and my heart is literally pounding in my chest unbelievably as he's coming down the aisle, the same aisle I walked down. So I'm standing there, and I'm stiff like this, and the minute that he hits the end of that aisle, it was as something took over me, and I said, "What happened? What happened? Who's there? Who's there?" So he gets and stands in front of me, and I'm like, "Who's there?" And I'm moving this cane, and as if I'm feeling for the person, and I hit his foot. He had on dark brown Timberland boots, and I hit his foot. I said, "What happened? Something bad happened. We have to get out of here. We have to, please help me out of here. We have to get out of here." So he stands there and he cocks his head and he's looking at me. And I'm like, at this point, I'm reaching out to try to touch him. And he puts his gun back in and slides his gun into the coat pocket. And he said, "Oh yeah?" He said, "Come on." So I reached for him. I'm feeling for him, and he got his arm out like this. And I put my arm underneath his arm and put the cane, and I'm doing this, and I'm locked arms with this man. My heart is jumping so fast. I don't even know how I remained able to remain conscious at this point. This is how tremendously fast my heart is pounding in my chest, and I'm moving, and I'm like, something really bad happened. The kids was hollering, and I heard a bang. I don't know. Come on, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here. Do you see anything? And he said, "No, I don't see anything." And he just calmly walks with me out the door. And I'm still like this, even on the outside. So once we get halfway down the block, he said, "You good?" And I said, "I am." I said, be careful, please. Be careful." And he let me walk on. And I was too scared. He walked back that way, the same direction that he came from. And I was too scared to even attempt to look back. And I was waiting for this boom in the back of my head to happen, but it didn't. And I continued on, and I continued on as if I could not see. And once I walked all the way up the block, I went into my apartment complex. Once I got inside my apartment complex to go up my steps, I threw the cane down and ran up the steps and went into my apartment. I ran in the apartment. My mom said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Mom, a lady just got killed down at the corner store." She said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, the cash lady, the lady that was behind the cash register, she got killed. And the man walked me out the door. I had to play blind." She said, "What?" I said, "Yes." So my mom called the police, and I told them as much as I could. We needed to get there. So they did. And once the detective came, he asked me questions, but I was too scared. I didn't know, other than that this was a African American man, and that he was 6'4". He was 300. I don't know. He was stocky. So that's basically all that I gave at that time, because I was shook up. I was scared that this man, even though he killed this woman, I did not. He could not. He could have easily killed me. And I don't know what he was coming back for. But the Lord took over my body. The Spirit took over my body, and I realized I was blind. I didn't even realize what I was doing because I was in a frozen state, and it was as if a spirit came in and took over my whole body. It spoke for me. And then at the time that I'm speaking, I realized I'm blind, and everything fell into place as if, like I said, the Spirit took over. So my mom said to me, she said, "You see how God works?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I was wondering why you was looking for those glasses." And I thought to myself when you left, why she was worried about some sunglasses. And wow, that was, and I said, "Mom, that's and I said, this craziest thing is when I touched that doorknob, something said, 'Go get your glasses.'" And I thought even to myself, sunglasses, but I was so used to wearing them. And I was just, and took it off as a repetitious moment. You understood? Like, that's the way that I took it. But in hindsight, and I look back, and we look back at that and said, no, that was the Spirit of God. And he took over your body. He was purpose. It was all divine intervention. And I say, when you say spirit, people get scared, but if you operating with a good spirit, you ain't got no reason to be scared. If you know God, you ain't got to be afraid of spirit. Is when you don't have a relationship with God, the spirit world does paralyze you, and you are fearful of the spirit world, because the spirit, if a spirit is telling you to go do something harm to somebody, you can pretty much understand that that's a bad spirit. If the spirit is leading you to do harm to yourself or others, you can pretty much understand that this is a bad spirit. But if every time that I was in harm's way, the Spirit of God spoke to me, and I was able to be transitioned out of harm's way unscathed and into a safe place. So one can assume that that's the Spirit of God. One can mark that off as that's a spirit of goodness, not a spirit of bad. So I am never afraid to say the Spirit of God or the Spirit, because I know who I serve. I know who walks with me. I know who I keep close in my walk. So I say that to say, as time went on, would spread, rumors had it that this woman was dating that man, and she was pregnant by that man, and he did not want her to have that baby. He was a married man. They end up picking this guy up months or weeks later, but I don't know if that ever stopped, because rumors had it that he was released, and he was released shortly after. So it was hard to prove, and they wanted me to identify him, and I could not identify him. And I'm telling you the truth, I was not, and I say that with unfortunate circumstances. That could have easily been my life that was taken, and my life was spared, and I could not identify that man. No, sir, Bob. No, I could not. And that store was closed shortly after. That store may have stayed open three to 4 months after that situation, but it eventually closed. So, and I've never went back down there within those 3 to 4 months, but I seen it as in passing. When it closed, when it was one day just driving by, and it was done, it was closed. So I say that when the Spirit leads you, by all means, had I hesitated and said, nah, I don't need my glasses, I'm not going to take my glasses, it would have been a different outcome for myself, because I truly believe that man was coming back, because he realized that I was in that store. What other reason was he coming down that aisle? So, and I'm glad that it played out the way that it did, and this man was convinced. Rather, he was convinced or just said, I'm going, since this woman is going this to this extent of trying to convince me or convey to me that she don't see nothing or know nothing, I'm going to spare her life. I don't know which way it was, but I thank God that he made that decision to spare my life. And I say that my prayers and thoughts goes out to that victim and her family, because she was somebody's daughter and somebody's sister. So, and she was a human being, a woman who decided that she wanted to keep her baby, point blank period. Another tale of something that could have been easily prevented. This, why he chose to go that route and why he chose to do that in front of children and in broad daylight is a madman in motion. That's the only thing I can say. I felt his anger. I felt the intensity of his presence. He didn't look menacing. He didn't have no tattoos. He didn't have that villain, if you will, persona in any shape, size, or form. You could easily pass him on the street and never know. But this man energy, I felt going in the store. Like I said, he was trying to walk over me to get in there. So I say all that to say I constantly am in prayer. I am constantly carrying God everywhere with me. I am humbled by the Lord's guidance and how he guides me through circumstances. I say there's nobody you can have closer in your life than God. Nobody should be closer to you than God. I don't care who they are. You keep God close to you in your daily walk. You conversate with God every day. He will not leave you astray. He will not leave you anywhere that you can't get out. Anywhere that you go, you take God with you, because he's the only one that can get you out of any circumstances that you get in. He's the only one that has the keys to heaven and hell. So you better take him wherever you go. That would be my testimony about this particular situation in this story, a walk with a killer. So I say, I hope that this was a blessing to you. I hope that somehow that you can bless someone else with this story or this testimony, if you will, and you be a blessing to other people so that God can continue to be a blessing in your life. And I pray that he continue to bless me so that I can bless you with more stories, testimonies, or cautionary tales, if you will. But if you stick around with your girl, I promise you will not be disappointed. I have much more stories to tell, testimonies, cautionary tales, if you will. However and whatever that story may lean to, I have it to give to you. And I say, I look forward with blessing you with another tales, cautionary tales, another testimony at my story time. I say peace, God bless, and I look forward to being a blessing to you. Later.